Yeah. Just say you've just describe who you are first, as
So,
in
so
coming here and who the
coming
country.
from the U.S. and just we're walking through Hyde Park. I've been here years ago. Wanted to see Discourse and ran into the we'd call that a rally in the United States. But as I was saying, I like the fact that there is at least an exchange of ideas and that it seems to be somewhat civil. Um,
Yes.
and that in the U.S. these things can often turn violent quickly, and maybe that's the case here as well. I don't know, but
So
but
you,
but there we have guns, so it's a different.
I'd like to get onto that, but first
Yeah,
let's just cover what's
yeah,
in front of us. But
yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
equally as important.
Sure.
I gave an outline of what I perceive to be happening. Would you agree with what I said, which is that
I th-
this
I think so. I'm seeing. I tend to frame things in terms of I see on the left side a group of women that are maybe some are a little bit older and a little more set in their ways and conservative, and very traditionalist. And on the right, the younger generation that is has a different viewpoint and they're expressing it. Yeah, I would agree with you in general that I think there's a big generational divide on this issue, and I mean even at my age, I 54 years old. I I sometimes struggle with some of the trans. Uh, not the concept as a whole. I'm a live and let live person, but I'm also like there are nuances to it. Like we were discussing bathrooms earlier. There are things.
I tend to be on the more, I don't want to say extreme, but more progressive and pushing towards change. And if we can just help a few people, um, and he will say to me, well, sometimes by going so extreme, we have so many right wing people that now the right wing people are taking over because you've been trying to push your agenda, your more progressive agenda, because there's less trans people in the world as a whole, and so it marginalizes the middle, and we split, and now we elected,
They'll use it as Trump, who I absolutely abhor, and always fail to understand where most people are coming from that seem to appreciate this guy. Um, Sometimes it's the activists on the left that they use that as a weapon, just like these women are. They're gonna hit you with the
these
general.
women, can you just
I'm sorry.
specify which?
Yeah,
There's
I
two.
I think the ones on the left side that are saying that they're.
Posey Parker, we'll call that group.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Certainly. But it becomes a bigger wedge issue because of a few. I think sometimes maybe we've pushed it a little far. I'm pro everyone. LGBT. I really don't care how you want to define yourself, but I think there's a lot of like middle, what we'd call middle America, and you guys certainly have your clusters of non-central London folk that probably are more conservative and don't understand it. People my parents' age, a lot of people my age, that just are your standard family unit. Don't get this at all, and I see where they're coming from, but they're all like freaked out about their children. One of the ladies was bringing that up on the left side over there, was suggesting that that this is now a movement to infiltrate children, and in the states they talk a lot about grooming, and it's preposterous.
Absolutely.
Um, but but we some of the things that we say uh, get used and twisted and distorted and shown on video and and used as a divisive issue where middle America for us rises up and reelects a guy like Trump, who's an idiot, you know. But when he's able to stand there and say, you know, there's this small segment that wants to indoctrinate your children and you know, uh,
So I think we get where you're coming
yeah,
from with that. See, I think you brought this, so you inserted onto this subject as well, which I've had, is that it's very easy to target a minority group that has no political representation or power. And throughout history, we've had characters that have risen on that premise of attacking a minority group and then gaining power from that hysteria that they build up, which cannot be countered with reason or an absolute testimonies of what it is like to be, let's say, gay or Jewish or transgender. They can't bring their testimony to bear because it's been drowned out by this, what the Posey Parker represents, this total domination of the media space in our mind, which says that, they're the enemy, they're what you were describing, which is they're infiltrating our children's brains. In actual fact, that's what they do. That's what they represent. They represent as I said before, was off camera, which I'll repeat now. The Posey Parker, the far right, they represent Iranian dictatorship. That's the vision of their life, which they wish to see, which is through government. Ironically, through government, they wish to impose their view of what human looks like, and will be Iranian thing. And now, yeah, sorry.
No. And I see what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. I think some on that side have felt as though they're being pushed by LGBT groups, at least in the States. I don't know about as much here, but I assume it's similar. To have, maybe some introduction of that to children at a certain age to make them understand that, gender identity is can be neutral or non-binary or
Diverse.
diverse or
And it's also not everyone's business. I mean,
Yeah.
your private life and doesn't have to be on display for everyone if you don't want it to.
Absolutely. And I think that comes across, again, it's consenting adults being the focus here on this part of the debate, and with other consenting adults, just sharing in love, happiness,
yeah.
and not engaging in violence or any particular illegal activity whatsoever. Just consenting adults, getting on with their lives, not affecting anyone else. Unlike what the right represent here, which is they're dictating over private lives of individuals through government, through this despicable idea of what they think. If a human doesn't represent them, therefore they've sinned and deserve punishment through not only through physical but verbal and political abuse, and that's kind of what they represent. So, unless you disagree with anything that, I just want to talk about America, because you said protests in America like this can never happen. Can we just touch upon that? Because I'd like to talk about guns. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh no, I've got a lot of opinions about guns. That's for certain.
I'll also say my first, I was at an abortion clinic when I was a teenager. We had to form a line for people who wanted to have abortions because the anti-abortion people had showed up and they were very violent and angry. And we had to stand there to make the shield and be quiet. And someone said, "Don't you believe in Jesus?" And then I said, "Well, I believe in Buddha." And I got in trouble for that because I wasn't allowed to speak, and I didn't think that was fair that the right get to be, the crazy ones and say what they think, and I can't say what I think. It's not a fair exchange.
Yeah, one of the things that comes so perverse, ironically, comes from the far right, is that they go, "Oh, it's free speech. We get to abuse you because it's under free speech." When anyone when anyone counters with genuine testimonies and genuine legal complaints about the system at the moment, or indeed trying to transform the political environment so that it actually includes all our different parts of our society, they shut that down instantly. And we have guns in America.
We do.
Can we just quickly touch upon how guns...
Certainly. Oh, it's incredible. We're from not only that, we're not just from the USA. We're from Dallas, Texas.
Crikey.
So yeah, I know it's bad. I mean, everyone I know I mean, I don't have a problem with someone hunting. Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
I
not.
don't
It's not
either,
my thing.
within reason.
Yeah, it's not my thing. But there are too many men in the U.S. and elsewhere find this weird sort of macho identity through guns and target practice and buying lots of guns. Many people I know have 5, 6. They collect them.
I've shown up to work events where all the men come and unpack their ARs, and they're drinking and shooting around and think it's funny, and it's a thing that I don't agree with, and I don't think it's fun,
It's
and I
really,
don't want to be a part of it.
it's hard to get away from there, and I wish there was a day that would come where we could do a buyback program and get them off the streets. But there's really no way. I don't think it can ever happen in the U.S. No matter how many kids are slaughtered and in schools, people in
Do you,
churches,
do you know what the
malls.
number one reason for children dying is? Obviously, in American children dying is in America. Do you know what the number one reason is? Guns.
Wow.
Not because of cars or
Yeah.
other diseases or cancers of that nature. Literally, the number one reason children die now in America is because of guns that are so freely available.
It is. There are two. They're on every. You can go to Walmart's in the U.S. I think maybe they eventually changed that where Walmart stopped carrying weapons, but that may not be right even.
Can I just hypothesize the reason why guns are so prevalent?
Mhm.
The reason why guns are really so prevalent is not because it identifies a man as a man or it's because of some sort of free rights expression. It's so that anybody that stands up with a different voice, it can easily be neutralized under the guise, oh, it was just a gun accident, or it was just.
There's certainly some of what you're saying that happens.
So I'm saying it's a political.
Yeah.
The reason why guns are so prevalent in America, is purely so that politics can never happen on the streets, in premises, because everyone's so frightened that someone may say something that would resort to a gun fanatic or a gun owner just to simply resolve their political disagreement or therefore disagreement through the bang bang of a gun.
I don't know that it's. You may be giving some of those people too much credit for having a mind and formulating opinions that are beyond what they're being fed. Mostly about fear, I think, and there's a racial component.
It is political.
Yeah.
Fear is politics.
Well,
the only reason we
no, it's
fear
true.
is because of our political leaders wish it to be so, and
Yeah.
therefore they can sell guns. Because they're
true.
also shareholders in gun companies.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
Oh, it's a
And
huge,
lobbyists.
it's a big industry. It's a big industry. The NRA, National Rifle Association, contributes millions and millions of dollars to every politician, mostly on the right wing side, the conservative side.
Yes.
So,
Because the left, in general, genuine left. Look, I don't regard the Democrats as left wing, by the way.
right,
But generally, like Bernie Sanders, I regard him as left wing, by the way.
right.
Just to clarify that definition.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
They want they don't want guns at all in society because it creates this total fear that you've described. But it is an easy way of resolving political issues and disputes when the dominant political force, which I believe is religion in America, by the way, they don't want to be the ones with the blood on their hands. So they leave it. They create an ecosystem, which is what we're calling America, where it's just lethal for anyone to disagree with the church, but done through the guise of letting as much guns out in the community. Because guess what? Majority of people are religious in America, and guess what? Their religious leaders are fueling the fire of fear and division. And when we have fear and division, we have conflict. And when we have conflict, if you happen to have a gun, generally conflict is resolved through guns, which is why I'm anti-war. And I'm not pacifist, but I'm anti-war.
Right, same here. I am too.
So, anything you'd like to add to this debate?
I could go on for 5 hours. But...
Wow, well, we don't have 5 hours. I've got a minimum battery.
It was a pleasure.
Follow me on YouTube. Yeah. My channel is called that's important, The Age of Dust.
The age of dust.
The age of dust.
The
It's
age
incredibly important for some reason. You stick the word "the" in there.
Okay.
So
cool.
please do that.
Yeah.
Would you like to leave my channel with a positive message about?
Positive message. Sure. I think what we're seeing here is good though. Even though you've got two sides diametrically opposed, they're out here, they're sharing their opinions, maybe some more vehemently than others, but it's good to have dialogue. And at least they're talking to some degree, even if they're shouting at each other. And so that's somewhat positive, right?
Can I just say, you two represent America with great dignity, and I think you make great diplomats, ambassadors of your country. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon. Enjoy London. Enjoy these rare moments of sunshine. Got to get a hat.
Yeah, I know. I know.